Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
They need to stop answering questions.
Welcome to this week's Wacky Moments of Leftist Extremism. Storms took much of everyone's attention this week, one of which was the storm of hot air that was generated by a series of softball Kamala Harris interviews. Some, like CBS, aired a word-salad answer on Sunday's Face the Nation, but when the 60 Minutes interview aired on Monday night, well, the answer was edited and somehow became completely freaking different.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Strangely, here we are days later, CBS has remained completely silent on why it aired two different Harris answers to the same question, because sometimes fake news is just hard to say. I'm sure many leftist activists would love to have edited Harris's answers on The View this week, as she confirmed that high inflation, high energy prices, and the failed border security of the Biden administration are all totally cool with her.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Wow.
Well, I'm just basking in the light. You know, it's pretty remarkable.
Sure is. Harris's answer actually even surprised leftists at CNN.
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Vice President Kamala Harris trying to thread a needle, portraying herself as a candidate who can deliver the change that voters want. Kristen, I want to start with you on Kamala Harris here, because I was a little bit surprised she didn't have a more specific answer to that question, because it does seem like it's something we're seeing in polls, that people seem to say that they want to know a little bit more about her. What'd you make of it?
I agree with you that I was surprised she didn't have a better answer, because it's an obvious question. It is one of the central questions of this campaign right now.
Clearly too difficult of a question to expect an answer for, and I mean, that's not good. The media are trying so hard to make these interviews go well for Harris.
When I met you out in the hall, I said, I'm really nervous because I want this to go well for you. I want it to go well for the country. Even when I watched them on Saturday Night Live with the where they have Maya Rudolph playing you, I hate it. I don't want you being made fun of.
Even SNL parodies of Democrat candidates must be shunned. Nothing less than praise of leftists is acceptable. And let's not talk about issues. That may have to be re-edited later. Let's talk about things like exercise.
How long do you go on the elliptical?
Half an hour to 45 minutes.
You're not bored out of your skull on that thing?
I'm watching a variety of things. That's how I catch
Morning
it.
Joe?
He's
something, huh?
Yeah.
That Morning Joe.
Uh-huh.
I love that guy.
I do too.
Well, I mean, how could she not after CBS's fake news edits this week? Morning Joe had to go that extra mile to retain that love. And its fake news panel, and I'm not making this up, they blamed the Second Amendment for their demented look at a predicted future where Harris voters end up being shot.
And in a country with so many guns, it doesn't take very much people, and perhaps not a huge leap of imagination, to imagine communities that were Donald Trump to lose would see this as a reason, as a giving them permission, if you like, to take out some kind of vengeance on people who didn't vote for him and didn't support him.
I think it's much easier to imagine a vengeful media making up lies and re-editing answers to suppress the truth if it doesn't support their leftist agenda. I mean, that would create a dystopian world where questioning the government's response on hurricane emergency funding, well, that is misinformation.
Your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir.
Noticing the White House announced $157 million in foreign aid for Lebanon, with its Hezbollah leadership at war with Israel, while officials claim that FEMA is running low on funds.
We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
Well, you see, that's misinformation, because the administration claims they need Congress to come back to approve more money, and that's embarrassing.
The president's letter is not misinformation. Would you agree?
No, the way you're asking me the question is misinformation.
Misinformation. The media picked up on the White House word of the week and decided that the real scandal is not a slow hurricane response from leadership that was vacationing or doing fundraisers. No, the real scandal is not a hurricane emergency funding shortfall. The real scandal is Trump brought it up.
But today, Trump again talking about FEMA.
They said that there was just no FEMA. You virtually don't see anybody from FEMA.
That single sentence from Trump took ABC over a minute to attempt to frame as dangerous misinformation.
Tonight, with Hurricane Milton now fast approaching, just days after Hurricane Helene, of course, slammed into the U.S., former President Trump targeting FEMA again today, just as millions try to recover from this. Vice President Kamala Harris blasting Trump for spreading dangerous misinformation. And what she said about this today. Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, with Florida bracing for a monster storm, as Georgia and North Carolina reel from the effects of the last one, Vice President Kamala Harris blasting Donald Trump for spreading falsehoods about FEMA, which has been on the ground for days. Harris appearing today on ABC's The View.
What do you think the effect of these lies are, and why is he doing this?
It's profound, and it is the height of irresponsibility and, frankly, callousness.
Trump again talking about FEMA.
They said that there was just no FEMA. You virtually don't see anybody from FEMA.
We had to speed it up so they could actually get there. What a laborious setup. Why are they putting all this effort? I mean, could it be that the leftist media mouthpieces are getting a little nervous?
Right now, I'm very, very concerned and very
What does
scared.
Harris need to do with the month left?
All right, the 7 month left. Let's start. We got 26 days.
Yep.
Today is gone. You're going to lose 4 to the hurricane. Just subtract that. We're going to get blank. You're not going to be able to get much out for the next 4 days. So, and everything kind of shuts down the Saturday before the election. So you're really probably under 20 days that you have to really get a message out. They need to be sharp. They need to be aggressive. They need to stop answering questions.
Well, there's a thought.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
They need to stop answering questions.
It's really no surprise that during election season, the media is regarding asking questions of the left to be
dangerous misinformation.
I'm Eric Shiner, asking you to keep questioning the activism of the leftist media. Head over to the MRC homepage and click on that donate button. Visit MRC-TV for the latest in information, entertainment, and videos. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe to these videos on the platforms that let you see us. And we'll be back real soon with another look at leftist media madness.